Hi, class. I wanted to do a little bit of an introductory to the materials, and I was looking for a way to do it where I could kind of introduce you to different degrees of pencil, graphite, the lead itself, and I was thinking, what could I possibly do to show you some interesting ways to work with it? The first thing that I thought of is that I'm going to work in a sketchbook, and I've arranged a bunch of pencils here, which I'm now going to move off a little bit, but I did want to show you one thing right off the bat. I sharpen pencils two ways, okay? With a regular pencil sharpener, and I'll also use, an X-Acto knife or a utility knife to whittle away the wood and leave the graphite. And then what I'll do on top of that is I'll rub the graphite on a piece of sandpaper and it will sharpen it to a really nice point. The advantage to a pencil like this is, I can get further away from my drawing as I go. In other words, I don't have to be putting my hand down to make a mark. I can make a mark from out here. So, and what I thought would be interesting is, maybe I'd show you how I draw. This is a 6B, which is a very dark pencil. And I'm gonna draw some handmade shapes. The first shape I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna do a rectangle. And I'm gonna train my hand to do that. And if you notice, I've talked to you a little bit already about this. I am a fan of sketchy, and then refinement. So, and what I'm gonna do once I've figured that out, just by sighting, just by eyeballing is, I'm gonna divide it. I'm gonna quarter it up, okay? After I quarter it up, I think it might be fun to quarter up these too. And that's all done really quite sketchy and fast. What if I wanted to put, what if I wanted to make an oval, and I wanted to make an oval really a certain shape and a perfect sized oval? A shape like this might have its advantages. And I find that it's easier for me to go to the left than it is for me to go to the right. Just a little inside tip. If I'm doing something general like this, there's nobody that says you can't do this then, if it's simpler. To make that shape. What if I wanted to put a smaller oval inside those four shapes? I could do it. What would happen if I made an intersection of those two? Where would that lead me? Just by eyeballing it. What if I wanted to make a tall oval? Skinny. Maybe I'd fit it inside a grid that way. Find its center. And then work your way out. I'm going to switch pencils now. I'm going to switch over to a 6B instead of a 6B with a long graphite point. I'm going to have a 6B with a shorter one done with a pencil sharpener. So what I could basically do later is, if I want, pick the right line out of my sketchy one and then just go like that. I might want to move over my axis or go across my axis this way. You might have to add on a little bit if you feel like you came up a little bit short. What happens if you intersect it this way? If you do the same from here. What happens is you start to create some really interesting, complex shapes. Diamonds inside rectangles. Let's have another. And this is all done without a ruler. That's the purpose, is to be freehand with it. But I really want you to see how, and if you look, by using a pencil that has a point on it sharpened with a pencil sharpener, I got closer to my paper and I moved the graphite around a little bit. Let's try a different degree of graphite. This is a 3B. So here's a 6B line. Here's a 3B line. So 6B is a little darker. If you look at it, when I rub my finger across it, it moves. This is a 9H pencil. Pretty dark, but compared to like a B pencil, not dark at all. Here's where it gets interesting. If I were to take a dark pencil, like a 6B, and I would take that dark line that is the 9B, and I were to draw over the top of it, I don't know if you can make this out or not. It'll cover it up. Now, remember that, because if I take a 9H, if I said 9B, I apologize. Let's just try a 5H, lighter. Try pushing there nice and hard. Softer pencil over the top. If I push really hard with my black pencil, all of a sudden, and I hope you can see that, the dark line that I put down became a light line, which, so if I was drawing something that had a lot of midtones, like say like hair, I might find that useful. That might be something I would want to use as an approach. So that's one shape. Let's play around with another shape. Let's play around with a square. And I'm using right now to measure the edge of my paper. And you can use your different types of tools. A sighting tool maybe would be a pencil. Maybe I want to turn it into a cube. And maybe I want to turn it into a cube using a horizon. So right now that's a flat shape with a line intersecting it. What happens if I put an X on that? And what happens if I take the two corners and take it to the X? What happens if I now put another side on it? I've created depth. This is called a horizon line. That's called the vanishing point. We'll go over that. I know some of you have done this already. You know, and this is a square that is slightly, I would describe it as slightly above my eye level, okay? At a certain distance. You could, if you wanted, you could add another one. Another side. You could make an extra cube. And do it again. Now you've got a second cube. What else could I use that square for? Let's cut it up a little bit and see what I can get going. So forgetting the horizon line, in fact, I'm going to take one of my erasers. I'm going to take that horizon line out. In fact, I'm going to take all this stuff out so I can work fresh on it without tearing out another piece of paper. See this stuff right here? That's pencil grit. That's a hassle. It's a hassle because you got to get rid of it. And if you're not careful when you get rid of it, you could get smudging. So back to the square one, as we should say. So there's our square. Let's have some fun with it. Go back to the 3B pencil. Let's find the middle. Okay, there's a middle. Let's bisect it this way and this way. Hit the spot though. Once again, look at how light my drawing is. And I'm using a 3B pencil, which is a pretty dark pencil. Suppose I want to figure out a way to project the bottom of a vase. You might want to use a square. You know, square up your shape. Like we use the rectangle for an oval, you might want to put your pizza in a box. Let's divide this one in fifths instead of quartering it up. So I might have to make some changes as I go. Widen it a little bit. Widen it. Gum eraser. Wider still, I think. Let's go this way. We want a half here, and then we want two holes. And then we want that half to be equal to this half. Sight it. I use these for my sighting tool. And I use this in the classroom to measure with. This is a bicycle spoke. Quite useful. I mean, I would rather we do, you know, you can see how straight my lines are just by using the straight edge. Let's start here. Move that back to here. Measure your distances. Do they appear to be proper? You may have to move stuff a little bit. This one might want to come in a hair. One, two, three, four, five. Pretty even. We can also now go this way, and those will help us just by measuring out squares. Like I can see that this is a square shape. This feels a little bit short. I might go back into it. All without the aid of a straight edge. Which takes us back to our circle. Maybe we want to put a circle inside another circle, inside another square. That might be the way I do it. You know, maybe I have what I have right now is the top of a vase, seen from an angle. Smaller circle could fit comfortably in there. You could use that square to help you project a semicircle. Make it taller if you wish. All without the benefit of a ruler or a protractor. All done with a thing we call sighting. So those are a couple of just general shapes that I wanted to introduce to you guys. Using a rectangle as a way to find an oval, using a square as a way to find a circle. You know, all free-handed, light to dark, you know, sketchy first, you know, lots of lines to find your one really certain line. And then you could just tighten up. You can get as tight as you want. You can grab an even tighter pencil in that. And once you get really skilled at it, you can go back in. You know, you'll find what's comfortable too, as far as working on the paper. You know, you saw me spin the paper around when I felt more comfortable doing it a different way. And I'm not afraid of holding my tool like that. All right? I know we generally draw like this. I get it, but that does rub your hand on your paper. Think about that when you're working.